Are you the one who starts the best conversations on Facebook, WhatsApp, or in the group chat? If so, this is the podcast for you. Hi, I'm Eva.
And I'm Don, and welcome to Chat and Bother. This is a 15-minute podcast where we start conversations and you and your circle finish them.
If you want to know the backstory of how this podcast got its name, you can listen to our really quick podcast intro.
Each episode is based on a question that people are asking each other online and in real life.
Maybe it's a question that you and your friends have asked each other, or a topic you're talking about.
If it isn't, maybe it should be. So go ahead and share this episode with a friend or family member so they can listen to it and you can talk about it together. Good morning.
Morning.
In the last episode, we ended off talking about winning and how we compete. The preparation for winning and how we think about it is a big part of our lives. Some people struggle with perfectionism.
And by some people, you mean me? Is that what you're?
No, not just you. And
you said not just you.
I know it is a struggle for you, but
and you're just gonna bring it up in front of everybody.
But it's not just for you. So one of my favorite football players ever, Jerry Rice, he was a perfectionist. For him, the winning came in his preparation. What he did on the field was only a reflection of what he had done off the field. He was always in better condition than everybody else, and he made sure of that. Even the way that he dressed, he changed his uniform at halftime because he wanted to look the best. He wanted to play the best. His goal was to play a perfect game, not to make any mistakes at all throughout the game. It's no surprise that, he finished his career in the tops of almost every category that you can imagine in that sport. But he reached it because of his preparation and the way that he thought about putting his product out there. He wanted everything to be perfect. Every detail, every nuance, the way that he made somebody's head turn when he moved. Like if he didn't do that, he was frustrated with himself. When you think about the way that you prepare for things, are you striving for perfection in what you're doing, or are you leaving room for improvement later on? Are you giving yourself an opportunity to think about ways to improve and ways to get better?
Perfectionism, when it applies to me, like I don't even know what perfect is, so it's a cycle. I don't always get things done because I want things to be perfect, but then I don't know what perfect is, so I just keep doing. So for this podcast, for example, how much do I have to learn about podcasting before I can start a podcast? And so the people who don't have that feeling, who say, you know what, I know how to do a podcast, I'm gonna do it. They're always gonna move faster than me. They might not be better than me.
Right.
But the fact that their podcast is out there
is better.
They're ahead of me.
Right.
And they're always gonna be ahead of me if I stay the person who has to read one more book. Yeah. I have to read one more article. And then it'll be like, oh, then I'll start. And then I'll get started. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't feel prepared for this. I need to watch one more webinar, and I end up being the most knowledgeable in the room, but all of that was not even necessary. And it's time that I took away from actually doing and creating and being. So when people come to me and want to consult with me for certain things, they love the fact that it feels like I know everything. But when I am giving them this advice and I'm talking to them, I'm like, my goodness, I should have done this for myself a long time ago. So I know, I call it a head full of useless information, but it's not useless to other people.
Right.
They love it.
They soak it up.
Right. It's like, if somebody doesn't know, guess who knows? Eva knows.
Right.
We know Eva knows.
Right.
Because Eva has spent the first 3 hours of the morning on somebody's webinar. Yes, and I have read all of the books. Eva, what book should I read for this? Well, I have a list of 10. Like, I know almost too many things. Yeah. And when you have this perfectionism on you, and it's like you almost wear it like a jacket. When it's on you and you can't get it off, it's like this constant need to know more things so that you can move. And it's not possible to know all of the things.
So you're saying that it's a cycle because you want to do your best, but you also don't know what is the best. You're constantly bringing it up to the level that you believe is the best, but then you learn something new, and then now there's a whole new top.
Yes, you don't know where you're supposed to stop learning and start doing.
Right.
People call it perfectionism, but none of us know what perfect is. What is the perfect podcast? What is the perfect website? What is the perfect book? What is the perfect movie besides Lion King? What is the perfect anything?
Right.
You can't get there. You cannot be perfect.
So what has helped you? Is it other people around you or other things that make you say, okay, well, this is good enough? What helps you with that? An example I'm thinking about is the group Tribe Called Quest, one of the best hip hop groups ever. In that group, Q-Tip, he loved to create melodies, but he also liked to dig in a crate. So every tour that they went on, he would go to record stores and start looking through old music in record stores, looking for stuff like Nina Simone. But he was always searching for that next sound, always searching for that new sound. It affected the way that they produced their albums. The record executives came to them and told them, dude, you have to stop tinkering. You have to let this album go. And they took it from him and said, look, you got to put this out there. Is there something that takes the role of that executive in the record company for you that says, okay, this is good enough? Is there a part of you inside that says, this is good enough?
There are two things that get me out of the perfectionism cycle. One is necessity, deadlines and necessity. If something has to be done by a certain time or before somebody else does it, I'm going to do it. It's going to go out the way that it goes out. My first book, if I had said I need to write a book, I would still be writing that book. If I wanted to write a book for me, I would still be writing that book 10 years later. But I had an event. Some of you all don't know this story. I had an event with 3 kids and passion projects. You have to balance your funds. Okay. I wanted people to leave this event with something cool. So I said, all right, how much does it cost to get a t-shirt?
Right.
They can come from this event. They got this cool t-shirt.
Swag. Everybody
loves swag. The book was cheaper than the t-shirt.
So the cost of printing a book was cheaper than the cost of printing a t-shirt.
Yes.
Wow.
And I did the book.
That sounds
sounds absolutely ridiculous.
I know the story. I was there, but it still sounds stupid to this day.
Don't say stupid.
Well, I mean, it's a whole book that lasts forever. You're gonna have moth holes, holes in this shirt from it rotting and dry rotting away before that book goes away. That book will be here when we die.
But what I was able to do was to concentrate the perfectionism in a shorter period of time.
Right.
So the book was going to have to be good.
Right.
It's not like I said, I'm going to write a book and I just let words come out of my butt. No, that was not it.
Right.
I had a certain period of time.
Right.
And I was going to write a book and it was going to be good. And I was going to have an illustrator and all of those things, but it had to be condensed in a shorter period of time. So there was a great product, but getting outside of myself and having some sort of external motivation was necessary for it to be finished.
Yeah.
The second thing that gets me out of that cycle is you.
Me?
You.
Oh, wait.
Because I don't know how to say this in a way that is not rude. How am I going to do this? You are more spontaneous than I am. Look what I did there.
Look at that.
Look what I did there.
Okay.
You are more spontaneous than I am. And you process, are we going to do it or are we not going to do it? Much faster than I do. So if you say, how long have you been thinking about this? And I'm like, 3 years. Girl, what are we doing? How do you think about anything for 3 years?
Right. That's foreign to me. I see so much junk out there on the internet. What frustrates me about you is I see the talent. I see all of the things that you think about. The ideas that you share with me are great. And the ideas that I hear from people out there are not so great. That bothers me. I know that what you put out there in the world is going to be 10 times better than 90% of what I see out there.
But see, again, that goes back to our last episode. You're looking at what I make versus what other people make. I'm looking at what I make versus what I make versus what I make. And there is never a way to win when you're always looking at your own product. So let me just look at what other people do, right? Let me just get online
and you see
what other
janky
people...
productions out there. You see janky promoters. You see just the whackness fest out there.
But I also see greatness. And then you get that imposter.
Sparing quantities.
I think it depends on who you follow and who you pay attention to. But I also see a lot of greatness. And then you get that imposter syndrome. You get that comparison thing. Am I that good? Have I been living in a bubble? Will my stuff be as good as this person? And that, again, is foreign, and it causes a bit of anxiety for me because it's not how I'm used to operating. I'm not used to looking at other people as my competition.
Yeah.
So then I retreat again. And I'm like, yeah, staring at other people's stuff is not it. That's not going to work for me.
So I learned very early on, I may have been the best in my neighborhood, but you go to the next neighborhood over, you're not the best. I remember like in my middle school track team, I came in there thinking I was going to just dominate that track team because, in the neighborhoods around, I was one of the fastest there. Long story short, on that team, there was a kid that ended up running for, I think it was North Carolina, another kid that ended up running for LSU. When you see that, it makes you realize, you know what? I don't have to beat them. I can be the best at my own thing. I realized, okay, I'm going to have to be like a long jumper or a triple jumper. I'm going to find something that I can be the best at. For me, that mentality is taking me through most of my career where it's like, I don't have to be the best at everything, but I'll find a niche that I can be really good at. I don't have to be perfect to do that. I can just be the best one in this part of Chicago. That helps me to think about when to pull the trigger on things.
At work, you have all deadlines.
Yep.
So if you even have that perfectionism problem, you can't succumb to that because it has to get done. What I love, those of you who may not know, Don is a product manager and works with startups. And one of the things that you taught me was about the MVP.
Yeah.
And of course, I knew what it was before, but to see it in practice and to read some of the books that you read, it's mind-blowing where some of the products that we use now started.
Yep.
And you can have users and you can have fans and you can have enthusiasts and evangelists for what you've done as the minimum viable product at the smallest. It's not perfect. It exists.
It's the anti-perfect. It's just out there.
It's just out there. And I'm like, that is amazing to me. So people just put a thing. They just do a thing and put that thing out there. And that thing is now a thing. And some people like that thing.
Yeah.
In some cases, they use that thing. Like they use it every day. And they'll tell you what's wrong with it so that you can improve upon it rather than you sitting inside your brain and trying to create this perfect thing that will never get out there because it will never be perfect.
Yep.
Bruh, listen, that was life-changing for me. It's easier to get things out. I have my own product manager that I'm married to that tells me, for the love of everything, will you please just go? I have deadlines that exist with people that I work with. So I can actually overcome that. It's harder when I have these ideas that I haven't shared. So it's kind of like if I don't want to do it, I can't share it.
Right.
But if I wake you up at 5 a.m., that means I really want to do it.
It also may mean that you have been thinking about this for 3 years.
For 3 years, quite possibly. Okay.
And today is the day you want to share.
Yep. So anyway, since you're telling everybody business, I got to go to work.
And I got to go to work.
So we'll pick this up another time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us for Chat and Bother. Go ahead and like our Facebook page and share this episode with people that you want to chat with or just feel like bothering, or both. Visit our website, chatandbother.com, for our episode guide and other ways to connect with us. Take care.